beautiful afternoon on the way across the board. Plenty of sunshine to go around and milder temperatures compared to yesterday. 50s to near 60. Not bad considering how overall cool April has been. Beyond that, a little preview for summer. Overnight low temperatures falling into the 20s north and east, 30s south and west. Also could see a few showers develop overnight toward the Sioux Falls area. Details on the rest of your 7-day forecast are coming up, but until then, midday in KELOLAND starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, midday in KELOLAND.
Ever wonder where the lines come from on a local soccer pitch? The answer might surprise you. We have this story coming up. Plus,
a helicopter evacuation from Sudan's capital city. I'm Nicole Skanga at the White House with details of the U.S. Special Forces operation to get embassy personnel out of harm's way.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having us in. Sioux Falls police are involving an early morning robbery that sent one man to the hospital. 3 men in their 20s and 30s were driving around on the east side of town near Carlson Park around 4 o'clock this morning. Police say 2 of the men allegedly stole cash from the other man, and one of the suspects used brass knuckles to beat him. The 2 suspects are being held in the Minnehaha County Jail. They're both charged with first-degree robbery. The victim has non-life-threatening injuries. A 24-year-old man is behind bars accused of starting a fire at a daycare in White River. The sheriff's office says the report came in around 1 o'clock this morning, and a home invasion was reported about the same time, just a block away. The suspect is being held in the Winter City Jail. A lot of people stayed up late for a special show. Blue, green, and purple lights lit the skies over much of our viewing area. All morning, viewers have been sending us pictures of these northern lights. Thank you. And we've been posting them all online. If you'd like to check out our photo gallery, all you need to do is log on to KELOLAND.com. We had the show in the sky, and now this midday with the sun shining, we got some pleasant weather out there, don't we, Adam?
Yeah, you really can't go wrong with what's going on outside. Plenty of blue skies to go around. It's not windy. It's not cold. It's certainly cool, but we can tolerate cool. Maybe not necessarily the former. Blue skies over green grass is what I like to say whenever we look at Falls Park like this. 53 with a variable breeze at 6 miles per hour. This is quite honestly a picture perfect start to the afternoon here in Sioux Falls. If you can't get outside to enjoy the day, find a way anyway. It's going to be one of those really nice days in the extended forecast. From Falls Park, we'll head on a little bit to the north and take a look at the waters of Lake Madison. Also looking quite nice, but remember, we're not in summer yet. It's 48 degrees still in Lake Madison with an east wind slightly stronger, 10 miles per hour. Still not bad. 46 in Aberdeen, 44 Sisseton, 43 toward Watertown, 10 warmer though as you head toward Pierre, 51 in Rapid City, 55 Chamberlain, 56 as you go into winter. And again, winds are tolerable, especially if you're East River. To the west, it's a bit of a different story. 15 to 25 miles per hour from Rapid City to Phillip, Pierre, Faith, even up into Buffalo. They have a southeast wind at 24 miles per hour. But again, it could be a lot worse. And considering we have plenty of sunshine to go around, we're doing pretty well for ourselves. And high pressure is going to be what's to thank to keep us this way, at least for a little while longer. While our next feature isn't quite on the map yet, later this evening we are expecting cloud cover to increase a little bit more, and then we'll have the chance for a bit of rain, especially overnight in the Sioux Falls area. We'll get in on a little more detail on that in a moment, but for your day today, enjoy it. 49 for Marshall on the cool end, either side of 60 toward Mitchell, Wagner, and Yankton. We split the difference in between for southeastern KELOLAND. To the northeast, we're largely in the 50s, a few upper 40s though towards Sisseton, Millbank, and Ortonville can be at 50 on the dot. And as you head West River, we get into the 50s and 60s, a little on the breezy side, but again, tolerable will be the key word there. Plenty of sunshine to go around. Just a great day across the board. We'll talk about the rest of your 7-day forecast, which unfortunately does feature more chances for some last-second April showers coming up in a bit.
Thank you, Adam. President Joe Biden ordered the evacuation of U.S. Embassy personnel from Sudan over the weekend, but thousands of Americans remain in the war-torn country. Nicole Skanga has details from the White House.
U.S. Embassy personnel safely arrived at Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany following a daring airlift operation from the embassy in Sudan.
We're taking further steps to support Americans and are exploring options to return a diplomatic and consular presence to Sudan as soon as possible.
U.S. Special Forces deployed from Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti Saturday to carry out the mission. Their Chinook helicopters left the base, refueled in Ethiopia, and then landed in the capital city, Khartoum, late that night. In less than an hour, they evacuated just under 100 people before making the trip back. The group was then flown to Germany. Secretary of State Antony Blinken monitored the mission as it was carried out.
I could not be prouder of our team, most of whom are now en route back to the United States.
An estimated 16,000 American citizens remain behind in Sudan. The Biden administration says most are dual citizens who don't want to leave, but for those that do, they're being told now is not the time. Sudan is seeing intense fighting as two of the country's rival generals battle for power.
It is not safe right now for another evacuation attempt. That would actually put Americans in more danger, not less.
National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby says several dozen Americans did make it into a UN convoy headed to Port Sudan in the east, where ships are waiting to evacuate them.
The United States military is providing overwatch through unmanned assets to watch over that convoy to make sure that we're be able to see whatever security problems they might face.
The Pentagon is considering deploying U.S. Navy ships to the Red Sea to help with evacuations. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, the White House.
A French citizen was wounded when their diplomatic convoy came under fire while attempting to leave Sudan's capital city. Developing this midday, political talk show host Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. The network says it has, quote, agreed to part ways with Carlson. This comes less than a week after settling a lawsuit over the network's 2020 election reporting. The network said in a press release that the last program of Tucker Carlson Tonight aired Friday. There was no immediate explanation from Fox about why Carlson was leaving. A big announcement for the Sanford International. This morning, tournament organizers announced they've added a country concert to this year's lineup. Jake Owen will perform on Friday, September 15th. The Pentagon, the singer and songwriter, has had 8 #1 songs. Tickets go on sale this Friday morning. Sioux Falls Parks and Recreation is using technology to prepare its soccer pitches for the upcoming season. The grass at Yankton Trail Park is receiving a fresh coat of paint from the Turf Tank. Parks and Rec purchased the GPS paint robot last year for $43,000, but says it will pay for itself in 1 year, while also easing the workload.
This will help us, especially early spring, late fall, when we do see a lot of our college kids are returning back to school and we lose some of our staff.
We'll show you just how accurate the Turf Tank is on the soccer field tonight on KELOLAND News. A Sioux Falls man is organizing next month's Celebration of Life to honor the late Chris Brown, the artist who drew the Hager the Horrible comic strip. Fellow cartoonist Ken Alvine was a longtime friend of Brown's. He invited Brown to speak at a cartoonist meeting in Sioux Falls, and that led to Brown becoming a permanent resident of the city.
Chris always had a sketch pad with him. He never left the home without a sketch pad, and he had an idea and drew. So it's just with you. It's just, you don't just give it up.
The Celebration of Life gathering will take place May 20th at Wildwater West. Find out how Alvine has been inspiring future generations of cartoonists in South Dakota coming up in tonight's Eye on KELOLAND at 10. Still ahead, it's not just students confused over loan repayments. Servicers are also bracing for trouble this summer. Plus, why climate activists piled up hundreds of thousands of cigarettes in Portugal's capital city.
Here's a view from our Aberdeen camera on this Monday afternoon. Beautiful blue skies over Brown County, but we do have some rain to talk about later in the week. We'll go into detail on that coming up in your extended forecast.
Climate activists pulled off an unusual stunt in Portugal, piling hundreds of thousands of cigarette butts into a city square to prove a point about pollution. Tina Krause has this story from London.
In a surprising street performance designed to draw a crowd, climate campaigner Andreas Noe scoured through cigarette butts to get people talking about pollution.
It's highly toxic, so this should be considered as toxic waste.
Activists dumped 650,000 cigarette butts into a city square in Portugal's capital city of Lisbon after filling more than 40 buckets.
But we have still people coming and bringing more cigarette butts like every few minutes.
The World Health Organization says 4.5 trillion cigarettes filled with heavy metals and chemicals are littered every year. Butts contain plastic fibers that can take decades to decompose, and the toxic trash often ends up in oceans with deadly consequences. 2 years ago, the surfing enthusiast and climate activist who calls himself the Butt Man started a campaign.
If you really throw it away,
encouraging people to toss butts in ashtrays or the garbage, anywhere but on the ground. This French tourist says, "We don't smoke, but we hate to see people leaving their cigarette butts everywhere." Even if smokers won't kick the habit, Noe hopes stacking up so much cigarette waste in one spot will at least encourage some. Tina Krause, CBS News.
The Centers for Disease Control say cigarette butts are the #1 most littered item in the world. A recent study shows 9.7 billion cigarette butts are tossed in the U.S. each year, with 4 billion of those ending up in waterways. Still to come on Midday in Keloland, flooding along the James River is forcing crews to close a few roads in Sanborn County.
And there's a view from our camera in Pierre, a little on the breezy side, but still a beautiful Monday out there at the Capitol Building.